This ain't my business, but I just know about it.
Wow, when you say what you got, we back with a very special episode. We got 3-time champ in the building. The guy that swept his opponent 3 times in a row. First black sheriff in Caddo Parish. Whitehorn. Me, I'm your chef ugly man, the myth, the legend.
I'm your boy Nesto the Don.
Iceberg Fame, man.
I'm Henry Whitehorn, the next sheriff of Caddo Parish.
No, not the next. The now.
The now sheriff. The now
Caddo
sheriff.
Parish.
It can only be one sheriff at a time.
Oh, okay.
It can only be one at a time.
One at a time.
So I'm gonna be the next.
Okay. We got our Mayweather City right here. Mayweather City. Hey, Mama Bath. Anyway. you know, I gotta throw a little jibby jab in there, man. I wanna appreciate you and thank you for coming on our platform. I'm gonna try my best to behave.
Please.
You know what I'm saying? But appreciate you for coming to the platform, you know what I'm saying, and showing the people that it's time for law enforcement, the community to come together so we can get a handle on our city, man. And it's just a joyful day. Get these youngsters something to look forward to. Even when they say things hard, you crossed the barrier that a lot of people wasn't able to cross.
Yeah.
And we here now, man. And Pac-Man, take it away before I start saying crazy stuff.
Nah, man, yeah. Like you were saying, you know, you bridging that gap, and that's one thing I gotta thank you for, because you've been coming in and you've been being a part of the community, you know, and not afraid to and standing on it. Like, you know, you say how we call it standing on business. You've been standing on business when it comes to being a part of the community and rubbing shoulders with the community. It's only one way to know what's going on in the community, if you can be a part of that community. So I gotta ask, speaking of the community, and he put something on my mind. I was seeing your opponent as he was campaigning, and he was saying that there's a point in time coming up in that basically you were going to release, you know, a bunch of prisoners on the street, you know, that's been committing crimes, and we want to know when the date is.
Well, Robert, the sheriff doesn't have the authority, first of all, to release prisoners back on the street. That's a court function. That's the judges and district attorneys make those decisions. The sheriff is the keeper of the jail. Now, I have a plan. My opponent didn't have one, but I have a plan to try to reduce the jail overcrowding, but that involves turning DOC inmates back to DOC. And DOC, a lot of people don't realize, in the local jails, they house more DOC inmates or prisoners than DOC house themselves. And that happened under a certain administration that decided they were not going to build any more jails, and they wanted to provide an opportunity for the local jails to make revenue. That's the fact.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember Katrina and Rita, the 2 worst hurricanes that hit the Gulf Coast. When we had to evacuate those prisoners from South Louisiana, we brought them up to North Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And the courts allowed for the influx of those prisoners so that the jails could operate over capacity. And so they started triple bunking people in those jails. The revenue from those inmates, you know, people started liking that. And so they kept that in place. So that's why we triple bunking folks in these local jails. CCC is one of them.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Triple bunking, that ain't no bunk, it's a boat.
You're on the floor.
But now, the federal inmates, they have to be 2 to a cell. Yeah. You can't triple bunk them. But the state inmates, they allow you to triple bunk. But I have a plan to reduce those numbers and put those DOC inmates where the DOC inmates should be and open up that space. We got a work release facility. We got folks that could be earning money while they incarcerated. But we did away with the work release program. You know, so when they get out now, they going back into our community and they don't have a dime in their pocket. And so what are they going to do? They're going to survive. So if we can give them an opportunity to earn and be able to take care of a family once they get out, have some money put aside, then chances of them being a recidivist is lessened.
Right.
And so I want to work with the community. I've always said I'm a part of the community, not a part from the community. And that has been my way of thinking ever since I've been in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, like I say, that's good to hear, because a lot of people were scared. They thought the criminal was just gonna be running out on the street.
Yeah, I got one question. It was this while we was campaigning for you online, telling everybody to make sure they go out and vote for Whitehorn. It was this one guy. He said he wasn't gonna vote for you because he used to cut your grass and you ain't offer him no water.
Yeah, it was crazy. He said he offered him no water.
Somebody showed me that clip. I really didn't know the young man, but I've got a guy that's been cutting my grass for years. That's Anthony Thornton. And if you saw his truck riding around Shreveport, he had a Whitehorn for Sheriff sign on the back of his trailer. That's Anthony. The guy worked for Anthony. And so, I dealt with Anthony. I didn't deal with the guys that worked with him.
Right, okay.
And so most of the time, those crews bring their own water. If he had said, I need a glass of water, I need something, he'd have got it.
Yeah, closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah, but I did see that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he talked pretty bad about me, too.
Yeah. But
You
I
can guess where he at right now.
Yeah, but I don't believe. I think it was an incentive behind. I got some
always
inside
incentive
information on it, but I ain't gonna go into it too much.
before, because I know you finna ask another question, but just like man to man, sheriff the player. I can't say pimp to pimp. I gotta say sheriff the player.
Yeah.
But when you got home, I'm like, because I know the male ego. When you got home after you won, you got your shower. You know what I'm saying? Like you walked in the bedroom with your towel on, drying off, and I know you just stood up in the mirror and you said to your opponent, you came up, shout again. I know you did. Come on. I know you had to. But no. But nah, that goes into my next question. Like the mental mind state, like keeping your cool, keeping your mental, because we all know, we all know why they kept recounting. We know why. Like I'm not gonna, but we know why they kept recounting, because we know what state we live in and what kind of state we live in.
Yeah.
Well, we know what type of country we live in. Therefore, but going through that, like even with your wife by your side, like going through that, your mental mind state, your mental makeup, like what kept you from cause you have this, I believe that's why God put certain people in certain situations, cause certain people don't have the wherewithal to handle certain things, but to keep your composure knowing that there was a bunch of BS going on with that count, and what motivates you and just kept your mind looking at your wife like, baby, I'm about to spaz out. Baby, you come on now, baby, you see this, baby,
No, I never got to that point.
You never did?
No, my peace don't come from man, and so I never got to that point. I'm not gonna let you steal my joy.
Yeah.
I know I've been through tougher times. I was telling Robert, I think I shared with Robert, I've been on the streets for a long time. My mother died when I was 13 years old. I never had a father in the house. And so I came up hard, picked cotton, chopped cotton, slopped hogs. I did all of that. And I remember during the disasters that I've been involved in, like Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, one of my command staff came up to me and said, how do you not get frustrated? She said, I don't think I'd have crashed and burned. I couldn't do what you're doing.
Yeah.
They never saw me frustrated, because when the leader's frustrated, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And so I can't, there are times when I'm human, so I have emotions, but I choose not to share those emotions. Okay. Sometimes we just have to deal with it. That God is in control, And you don't have to worry about it.
How long you been married?
I've been married 48 years.
That's why you able to keep your composure. That's why. No, that's why. For real. Yeah, that's
To the same woman.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? That's why.
Excellent.
That's why, cause like we before we like do podcasts or whatever when we together. Like we have discussions. We like you out here. How we like man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm human.
Yeah.
Anger, I get mad sometimes, but you have to know how to control it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, well, speaking of controlling anger and things, you know, I know like we was talking about, I know you seen a lot of the attacks and things, and I dealt with some attacks myself, and you know, and like I tell people, what a lot of people don't know is like behind the scenes, almost everybody that you have seen me be attacked by anything, I've reached out to them and offered them an olive branch, I've offered them peace.
Yeah.
You know, with saying that, like, how do you, since now the election's over, because you know that's a part of elections. You know, you had a mudslinging and all that. But now that the election is over, and you have to be the sheriff for the whole Caddo Parish, how do you bring all of that together?
Yeah.
Like,
I have a reputation of being a unifier, and I've been a fair person. Anybody that really know me know that I'm a fair person. I believe in always doing the right thing the right way for the right reasons. And then those 3 R's, I have to sometime add a 4th one, because it also has to look right. You know, a lot of times we get caught up in, well, it was right to do, but it didn't look right. And that gets us in trouble. And so I'm the sheriff for everybody. I plan to operate that way. I believe in the golden rule, treating people the way I want to be treated, how I want my family treated. So I can't be hypocritical about it. Now, and I forgive. I know how to forgive. I don't necessarily forget, but I know how to forgive.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to deal with that. But I believe that once people in this parish really get to know Henry Whitehorn Sr., they're going to be wishing I'd been the sheriff a long time ago.
Right.
And I have a question. Like some people, like this little group that was campaigning for the other side. They like calling out the DA right now, saying that he's too easy on criminals.
Yeah.
I think they don't understand that you have to have a certain amount of evidence to actually convict somebody of a charge.
Yeah.
Like they want, like you said, you fair. They don't want their law enforcement to be fair, what it seems to me. They want them to put the hammer down with no evidence.
Yeah.
A lot of people, some charges drop because it's not enough evidence to convict a person.
Yeah. I tried to explain that at one of the forums. And that clip you probably saw about me talking about being arrested 100 times. What I was doing, I was explaining the difference between probable cause and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? Probable cause is only a 50% probability that you did the crime. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is the 95th percentile. That's when you get into conviction. And oftentimes, we know in our communities, Black and brown folks have been arrested for all sorts of things that they would never be convicted of. And so we got a lot of young folk that has criminal records just because they were in the wrong place. Not necessarily because they did something. We know that. You know, I'm a member of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. Our motto is, we're the conscience of law enforcement. I've been a member of this organization almost 30 years. I'm a lifetime member. I'm a lifetime member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I serve on the Human and Civil Rights Committee for the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Okay? So we have to be careful with what, and how we arrest people. And we got to have good probable cause. And we got to be able to not only have probable cause, but you got to be able to take that all the way through the prosecution process with proper evidence in order to get that person convicted and put that person where he or she should be if, in fact, the crime was committed. And in many cases, in law enforcement, we're running from case to case, call to call. And oftentimes, if it's not within the four corners of that report, it didn't happen. Because when you go to court, they're not going to ask you, did you have reasonable suspicion? They're going to ask you about your probable cause. And you're going to have to be able to articulate that to the judge and or jury. And if you can't do it, guess what? That person's going to be let free. And so, and you stop a car. You know, I've been doing this over 40 years. We stop a car. You got some evidence in the car. And nobody wants to own up to it. So you take everybody. All of y'all going to jail.
Yeah.
So each one of y'all got a record now.
Yeah.
But it was only one person stuck
Yeah.
that didn't want to speak up. And then you get to court time and the guy said, I'm going to go on and fess up. Well, you got a record still.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to get it expunged, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
And that costs.
Okay? So, I mean, I'm tough on crime, but I'm also fair.
Fair, yeah.
You know, I know how to put people in jail. I got folks still in jail that I put in jail. Long time.
Because me personally, I don't understand where you being soft on crime come from. Because I remember when you was the police chief, I remember seeing a lot of police. That's around the same time the task force came.
I hired additional officers. I got federal grants to put police on the street.
Yeah, man, because, boy, we was getting...
I was getting hemmed up.
Yeah, we was getting... Every time you look up, I was calling David Winder.
Yeah. No, I know how to police. But, you know, everything that's legal, I heard someone say, and it stuck with me, everything that's legal ain't just. You know?
Yeah.
You look at some of these laws been on the books a long time.
Long time.
You know? And so we have to be careful and make sure that we're treating people right and we're doing things the right way for the right reasons. And it's got to look right.
Word.
Right. Well, that's good to hear because, like I say, from what I was reading on certain pages, probably the same page you read, what you read on, they were saying like almost as if like, if one of us was to commit a crime, then, you know, now that we got Sheriff Whitehorn,
we gonna get away with it.
No. Tell homeboy and whoever else whatever y'all call. They got a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
And he ain't playing.
right.
You know, we're gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
And we're gonna slow some of this foolishness down. But I'm not gonna disrespect nobody.
And while I was trying to get people to vote, one person told me, "You really voting? That's the police." I said, if somebody doing crime, they need to go to jail. Don't do crime.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to jail, don't do crime.
And that's
It's that
crazy
simple.
because if you're a criminal, don't criminals are supposed to go to jail? If you're a criminal, that's what
Break
criminals
the law.
do. They go to jail.
Yeah.
You break the law, you're supposed to go to jail. Which like take me into this like man, I think I almost forgot what I was finna ask. Oh yeah, to piggyback what he said. Man, I forgot what I forgot.
Don't worry about it. I got you.
Go ahead, get me.
All right, so another question that I had, because these were a text that I seen on you. A lot of people were saying that Sheriff, you know, I gotta call you Sheriff Whitehorn. I've been calling you that since the last election. but Sheriff Whitehorn, he's dealing with felons. So they say, you know, he's the sheriff that's for felons. I seen that. He's for felons, you know. And I was trying to, it kind of messed my mind up because I was like, well, I mean, I can understand if a person was criming right now, if they were still criminals, active criminals. But if they went to jail and they done their time and they came home and they
been
you know,
rehabilitated.
And I'm gonna add this on it. They say felons, but a Martin Luther King quote. But do they know that Martin Luther King was also charged with felons? Rosa Parks was charged with felons?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you say to that when people say that you are the sheriff for felons?
Look, I'm for productive citizens in this community. You know, folks have gone to jail, they've done their time. They didn't lose their citizenship rights. You know, they may have lost a right to carry a weapon. They didn't lose their right to vote. They were suspended. A lot of people think that just because you went to jail, you've lost your right to do a lot of things. You know, the felons that have done their time, and you know, if they can come back and be productive citizens in the community, we need to afford them that opportunity. You know, because if we don't, they're going to recommit. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to be dealing with them again. We have to give folks opportunities, and that's what I'm about, trying to be fair about it. You know, I may not go out and hang out with you, you know, but to give you an opportunity, I don't have a problem with that, you know, because it's a lot of folk out there that could have been felons that ain't felons because they didn't get caught.
Right.
Okay?
And I think that's where the disconnect comes in with the youth. Who better to tell them not to do something than someone that's already done it and have faced the consequences of their said thing, other than someone who's already been through it.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I've got folks in my family that's been incarcerated. I got folks, relatives that's incarcerated now. You know, but they're still human. Yeah. You know, and deserve to be treated with dignity. You know, until they show otherwise.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm gonna ask you what I think Ugly want to ask you. Are you gonna bring the fried chicken back in CCC?
I mean, yeah, because I'm just saying, like, you know I look young, but you know, I got some years on me, and I came through Caddo a couple times when the fish was big and the chicken was big. You know, wasn't no fights, wasn't nobody doing drugs, and everybody was eating. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no stressing going on, and we go take our time or whatever, because that's not jail. You have to understand, like, when you commit a crime and you go to jail, true enough, you committed a crime and you shouldn't be treated like no angel. But there's a difference in between treating a person less than human or treating a person like a criminal. Like, it says that you innocent before proven guilty, which is a lie, because if they put the handcuffs on you, you're guilty right there, or you wouldn't have to go to jail. This is my opinion, but like, when I be telling people you had the food good up there, you know, at the jail, I basically don't be saying it like, well, he just fed us good. No, what I'm saying is, it's certain things you can take away from a man that'll make him act inhuman. You see what I'm saying? And I guess I wouldn't say the opponents, the other side don't understand it because it's not their ones who's normally in this situation, so they don't see it. That's like my homeboy Teddy while we was after the podcast. Teddy was like, "Who's the guy he was running against?" We was like a lawyer, and he was like, "Really? Are we having this discussion that you will let a lawyer? Y'all want a lawyer to be sheriff? He probably don't even know how to read your Miranda rights. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, know that.
But
I get what
you get what I'm saying. Like, you didn't find it highly disrespectful that they put a lawyer in front of you?
That's why he won't word.
Well, from what I see, you know, he couldn't find nobody that wanted to accept, nobody qualified that wanted to accept the position. Now, I heard there was a bunch of people that he overlooked. You know, I ain't gonna speculate to why.
Oh, but I remember what I wanted to say to you.
Let me answer the chicken question first.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about the chicken, okay? so I don't know anything about that chicken, okay? So we're gonna leave that alone. Okay.
We're gonna leave it alone. But now though, like the whole time the old regime, the sheriff, they would study complaining about crime, but it's hard for you to go in a situation and change something when you don't even try to take the time out to know that group of people. Like, like you say, you should have been ran, and we should have been had a black sheriff. Do you think us having a black sheriff in a city where blacks are the majority, do you think us not having the black sheriff to be able to go into the community with the people, do you think that was like one of the biggest reason for the crime rate spiking because of the distance between law enforcement and the community? Like,
I don't think that had anything to do with a black or white sheriff, because we got some good police professionals of all races out there. But what I do think is you have to be engaged with the community. Community engagement is going to be key to my success. It was key to my success when I was chief of police. But you gotta be boots on the ground. You know, y'all used to see me out 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. You know, at crime scenes or walking downtown by myself. You know, just making sure that I knew what was going on. You know, I can't sit behind that desk and find out. You know, you'll feed me with a long handled spoon and tell me that stuff is good, and I know it ain't. Yeah. You know, so I got to get out there and I have to know what's going on, and I do plan to do that. I'll be visible and I'll be accessible to the community. Yeah. You know, I can't tell you how many folks got my phone number right now. I may regret that later, but you know, folks know how to get in touch with me, and I'm not afraid to come out. In the community, I mean, that's me. Yeah. You know, I've been there, so you'll see me around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do y'all got any other questions?
Well, I mean, since allegedly they spewing bull crap about you and stuff, talking about you gonna be letting felons and stuff out of jail. I got a situation with this child support situation, and look, I told them I know big people in big places, and I told them I was coming back for everything that they keep taking from me.
Not gonna happen.
I tried.
Not gonna happen.
Cause he could look. I'm looking at the chick, and they done took more than they supposed to take out the chick.
I believe in second chances, but
he's so dirty. He gonna tell me, say, man, you got some child support papers, man, on the thing, and I
take care of the baby. Take care of the baby.
I take care of them. That's enough talking for another day. I mean, cheering. I mean, fathers, you gotta take care of your cheer, but when it's out of malice, it's a different thing. Yeah. But man, I really do think that this city is headed toward a better space. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because y'all, my fans ain't gonna like it, but I'm a fan of the stop and frisk. Is that a bad thing?
You told. That's what you is.
Listen, let me explain. Me and my homeboy DJ was just talking about this, and he was the one told me to bring it up when you get here.
Okay.
When we first started talking about it, we was like, nah, because everybody knows stop and frisk most likely in Shreveport. It's a black man most likely to get stop and frisk. But at the same time, with what's going on within the generations in the city today, I looked at him, I said, man, look, them people ain't gonna stop and frisk me and you, because they know we ain't gonna do nothing.
How they know that?
Because, man, I got gray hair.
Nah, bro, you 27.
Now they know I ain't 27.
Let me tell you about stop and frisk.
Yes, sir.
Stop and frisk is the law, okay? The policy and the practice of how it was being used in some cities is what got ruled unconstitutional.
Yes, sir.
Because it became a tool to harass and racial profile black and brown people. Stop and frisk is the law. The police officers are trained on how to use stop and frisk. They're gonna always have that right, okay? And I'm not gonna take it away from them. But I'm not gonna have them harassing our community. You know, it's not gonna be a practice, because they had quotas. How many stops and frisks did you make today? If you come in and you hadn't made your quota, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know? And it was not decreasing the crime. Mm-hmm. They were making hundreds and hundreds of stops, but it didn't really have an impact on the crime. But now if I suspect you committed a crime as a police officer, I got reasonable suspicion that it's you, I'm gonna stop you. And if I suspect you got a weapon or something that's gonna harm me, I'm gonna frisk you.
Yeah.
Until I, feel comfortable that you're not.
Yeah.
But that's the law.
He just want to get rubbed down. That's all.
But it's how we do things. This is what I began by saying, doing the right thing, the right way for the right reasons, and it's got to look right.
Yeah. Hey, DJ, see, I told you, they ain't gonna stop and frisk us. We got gray hair. We ain't did nothing.
Yeah, you gonna be the first one.
I can't wait till they stop. I can't wait till they stop and frisk me. I'm gonna hit them with every code.
That's what he talking about, right?
Boy, I've been reading. You feel me?
Nah, you gonna be ready. You gonna say, I know the procedure.
The best thing for you to do is say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. And don't escalate the situation.
Yeah, I don't do nothing to get in trouble. I don't do nothing to get in trouble.
Well, I think the problem with the stop and frisk came in that is us as black people and as white people, we need to start spending more time together.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the disconnect comes in there. Because me, like, I'm from the Lakeside neighborhood. I haven't really been around Caucasian people all my life until I got of a certain age. So I feel like that's where the disconnect comes in, that we need to bridge that gap a little bit more so we can get more comfortable with each other so it won't be no fear when the interaction happens.
Yeah, and I got to really get out of here. I'm running late for another meeting, and I apologize. But we have got to learn how to love each other and love ourselves. That's what I see as our biggest issue now. We have no respect for life in certain areas, and we act like we hate each other. One little thing, and we want to start capping on somebody. At some point, y'all are the answers, actually, not me. Police can't solve it. The community's got to solve it, And so we can work with you, and that's what I plan to do. But we have really got to touch these young folks and get them off of this quick temper and you diss me or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is anymore, the reason some of these folks are pulling these weapons out.
I don't know.
And then everybody that's using them kind of know where they're coming from. We ain't making them here. So just like the drugs coming in, them guns coming in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I plan to stop it. Mm-hmm. So tell them. Y'all hear me?
Yeah. We gonna be able to party at the parks again.
But look, before we get out of here, I think he had a couple questions, and I just want to afford him an opportunity.
You got 5 minutes?
I really don't.
No, that's all right. I mean, I respect your time. If you don't got time, that's all right. We can
Okay.
maybe do it another time.
I'd like to do it another time.
Yes, sir.
I'll be happy to come back. But,
Absolutely.
okay.
Okay, well, this your boy FTF Ugly Man, the myth, the legend, the voice of Ratchet City, man.
This is boy Nesto the Don.
Iceberg Pac-Man, the Hood's voice box.
And this is That Ain't My Business.
But let's talk about it.
And shout out to the
Caddo Mama Bells for making all this possible.
Yeah, because y'all make it possible. Mr. Whitehorn, thank you, Sheriff Whitehorn, man. I appreciate you for blessing this platform and giving young black men something to inspire. You know what I'm saying? That's a slogan, man, my friend got. Always inspire and reach for the stars, man. And thank you, man. Y'all get with us, and thanks to Bipsy for letting us do this podcast.
Yes, sir.
How about that?
Thank you. All right.
This ain't my business, but I just know about it.